Phil show. So I talked to Phil, I said, Phil, you almost ran away with the show there, didn't you? He said, Doc, you know how I am, I couldn't help it. But he's that good.
He is, he
He's
is.
that good. This is gonna be a tribute to Joe Sample, who
Nice.
died recently.
Nice. Good stuff. All right, so we're ready?
All right.
Okay. Let's see. Well, first I want to thank you for allowing us to do this interview. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, we're going to jump right in it. So tell the students about your presidency at CAU.
Well, it's been an exciting presidency. There's been a lot going on during our time period. I became president as the recession began. And so we had to do a lot of things in my first year that no first-year president ever wants to do. We had to make some changes in order to survive. We did that well. And then we've been really spending all of our time rebuilding infrastructure, rebuilding process, expanding some of the critical offices, but also trying to make sure that we're responding to students in all the good and appropriate ways. Changes in the athletics program that has led us to 6 championships in the last 7 years, which is more than we had in any 20-year period prior to that. Very simple formula: recruit good people who want this degree, who happen to play these sports, and you win more than you lose.
Awesome, awesome. All right. What are some of your outstanding accomplishments that have stood out? And tell us about your legacy at CAU.
Well, I'll leave the legacy piece to others. I can tell you what we have gotten done. We have rebuilt our financial operations, leading us to 6 years now of clean audits, no repeat audit findings. We've built a much more efficient operation. We saved probably $2 million in utility costs over the past 2 years, which then, of course, enables us to do other kinds of things. We have also rebuilt our research and sponsored programs operation so that it can pursue more grants and contracts, which they're doing. We've built the Center for Cancer Research and Therapeutic Development to the largest of its kind in the country. So it is the largest prostate cancer center in the country. In the past 3 years, they have booked 9 new disclosures of discoveries and procedures, leading to 4 patents with 3 more pending. And we're beginning to attract the kinds of researchers that everybody wants. So postdoctors coming out of Harvard, Yale, UC Berkeley, Stanford, and places like that. So we're building that kind of thing. We're expanding our nanoscale center in some beautiful ways. And you should know there's a Savannah State, former Savannah State student that finished our doctorate program in chemistry, who created a new nanostructure for the delivery of cancer drugs to the body.
Awesome.
So a lot of good things are happening. Lots of new research is taking place. We're expanding in the material sciences. So that's been a big piece. We're now rebuilding the structures for institutional advancement with new personnel and new capability, so that we can begin to brand ourselves a little bit better and do a bit more work in terms of financial solicitations and getting that kind of work done. Of course, we involve a lot of students in that process too, because that's what we're selling.
Exactly.
We're saying we want somebody to produce more of these,
Exactly.
then you have to help us do that.
Exactly.
So in fact, tomorrow I think it is, I'm taking 2 of our students to a meeting sponsored by the Georgia Council for Independent Colleges, where a number of state legislators are going to be. And so I'm taking the kinds of students who've used state funds for their education and showing them what the product really looks like.
Awesome, awesome. Great stuff coming about. Great stuff. We know that there is in a process that you are leaving us, and we're very saddened to hear. As your presidency at Clark Atlanta comes to an end, what are your expectations for the new president of Clark Atlanta?
Interesting question. And of course, it is not me that has to have the expectations, it's the Board of Trustees and the rest of the community. But here's what I would say. we can make sure that the incoming president has an understanding of all the bells and whistles, the strategic plan, et cetera, et cetera. But what I would communicate to the president is that there are modes of communication and connectivity here that they need to pay attention to. Even when things go wrong here, there's an expectation among our students that somebody's going to respond to this, and they're going to respond in a respectful way and get respect back in return. So you can't ignore the student body, and you need to establish a relationship with your students that will help you get through the tough times. If you don't do that, then there will be some difficult times as the institution continues to change and as the society continues to have its economic difficulties. I would also say, don't let this institution live in the shadow of other institutions. We're the only research university in the entire UNCF community. We're certainly the only one on these grounds right here. And we should assert that every day. And while this is a college-rich town, so it's difficult to find space here,
Right.
You have to assert that space. And the best way to do that is to put faculty and students in front.
Exactly. Great words, great words. As president, of course, there are a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things that you have to attend to. What's a stress-free evening like for you?
Well, one of the 10,000 reasons that I'm retiring is that, done right, there is no such thing as a stress-free evening for a president. There's only a less stressful evening than some others might be. But being president of a university, a residential university, all the things that we do, with study abroad, with research, it's a 24-hour day, 365 days out of the year job. And so you're never off. You're always on because, as you know, things are happening all the time, and I have to be prepared to respond to things all the time. So there's no personal life per se. So, well, I'll have a stress-free, about as close as I get to one this evening, at a jazz concert, listening to our faculty and students perform and enjoying that. That's about as close as we get. And if we're lucky, no emergency call will come in the middle of it. No one will have messed themselves up at midnight. No building will have some kind of failure at 2 in the morning. So there's no stress-free days or nights.
Well, coming up in your retirement, we hope you have many stress-free.
I'm going to work on it.
Name one or more things you would like to have accomplished before your departure for us.
Well, we're just about there on all of them. Probably the most important thing that we've done is to put together the current strategic plan, which is the plan that will take us to the big time. It will take us to the big time because it's a very focused plan. It requires deep change inside the institution. And so this year we've been pressing forward on some final pieces of that, including a movement to a more performance-driven organization where the strategic plan has to be pressed down through the entire organization, including all the faculty, so that everyone has annual tasks to complete to meet the needs of the strategic plan. We're going to get to some deep curriculum change. We are probably going to put in place a new core curriculum starting this fall. I just met with that faculty committee yesterday. I'm very excited about what they're doing because it's going to be some new and interesting stuff, and it's going to be outcomes driven. And it's going to be driven in such a way that every student will know exactly where they are, not just in terms of meeting courses, because we're not talking about courses, we're talking about experiences, some of which are courses, but you'll know exactly what your development trajectory will be as you go forward, and you'll know what you need to do to continue to develop yourself. We're going to continue, and we launched new international activity with larger numbers of international students on campus. That will continue to grow. We're working on profiles for students for each academic discipline so that we can target recruitment. And as I tell folks all the time, students find their way to some extent by spirit. because if you don't find your correct academic home, then the magic doesn't happen. It's only when you know you're in your place that it happens. So, but then we have to make sure that larger numbers of students know that this place can be for them. Just as there are times when recruitment is taking place and the buses come through. Sometimes there are folks that think they're going to one of the other institutions till they get to the promenade. Okay, then they realize, oh my, had no idea people could interact with you like this, people would respond to you like this, and they make that change fairly quickly.
It's true. It's true.
So those are the big things I think that we'll say.
Awesome. Our last question. What is your outgoing message to the students and faculty at Clark Atlanta University?
Well, for the outgoing message, I'll actually start by going back to history moments. If you haven't heard me say this before, you'll hear it this time. The beginnings of both Clark College and Atlanta University were high aspiration beginnings. Both of them were named university at the very beginning because the expectation was that these were the institutions that could achieve that kind of height, which they have. Now, Clark University became Clark College at a moment in time when things had to shift for them. But finding their spiritual aspiration reborn in 1988, when the two come together at Clark Atlanta University. But the phrase that was used in the movement from their own location to when they were co-located here, and people were doubting about the future, the phrase that the president came up with then and the talk to all the students was, "You are second to none." So I say that to our current students, that you may find institutions that may be right next door to you that appear to have more height than you do. But then I ask you, where do they come to get the things that they need? They come here. Okay, you know that, I know that. You are an inventive group of students, more inventive than others I've ever seen. This place attracts and prepares more talent than any other place I've ever seen. And you become very innovative on graduation. So you know who Kenny Leon is, for example. Kenny was a political science major. He was not a drama major. But that's what we develop here, the capability to remake yourself, to reinvent, to try new things and succeed at those things. That's what we've done historically. So know that that's who you are, and know that that's who you are to become. And then speak it into existence and then go live it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this interview. Wish you well in your endeavors, and we will miss you dearly.
Well, I'm going to miss you too. This August will be the first August since I was a very, very young adult that I won't be on a college campus. And so that's going to be a very unique experience for me because, you know, these rhythms are the ones that I live on. Okay, so August hits. First thing that happens is the football team shows up, the band shows up, then the freshmen come in, and it rolls from there. So it's going to be a strange August.
Well, don't forget about us. We're always here.
Well, I'm not going to forget about you. I've loved my time here. Certainly love the students here. I'm blessed with having never been any place I didn't want to be and didn't love. And that certainly goes for this place.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. And hopefully I can be able to send it to you
Oh, that'd be good.
when we're done.
That'd be good. We'll give you back your equipment before I destroy it.
Thank you.
All right. You know what I say to report? So are all you juniors?
No, I'm a senior.
Very good. Graduating in May?
Yes.
Okay. So you'll be one of my last ones. Very good. You got your plans all laid out? No?
Still working on some things.
What do you want to do?
I want to go to law school,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't been studying for the LSAT,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to take LSAT prep classes.
Okay, good, good. We got a lot of students go to law school every year.
Yeah.
And they do well. So get ready.
I'm trying.
You'll handle it. You'll handle it.
That's good. Okay. Is that you say you had a class? 4?
4:10. So we might get out sooner. Usually this is on like 3:30.
It don't matter. I'm going.
You what?
I'm leaving campus around like 2. Hopefully I can get this stuff like off and on the computer and try and edit most of it. But then I need to be, Brittany, what time you doing class?
What time, what?
What time you doing class?
Girl, 5:45.
Oh my God, I'm gonna find some. Maybe some key cards. Now all I need to do is interview some people on the phone now and I'll be good. What's your story, Britt? You got one?
No.
Yeah, I had mine edited by like Friday and turn on
Yeah, I thought this was good.
What are your thoughts about President Brown leaving?
My thoughts about President Brown leaving. It's a sad feeling, but in time everything must change. I'm glad President Brown was our president. He's such a humble, nice man. He knows everybody by their name, and I'm glad he was clear for us.
All right.
I'm gonna have to do that again.
That's why. You want to do it again?
Yeah, I
Okay.
feel like I was talking too fast.
What are your thoughts about President Brown leaving?
My thoughts about President Brown leaving. That President Brown was a great president, but in time everything must change. And I'm glad he was our president because he was very nice, humble, and caring.
Awesome. What would you like to see changed or improved on the campus of Clark Atlanta University?
If I could see anything change on this campus, I'd like to see a little bit more unity. I know we try to move together as one, but I think we can work together a little bit more.
Awesome. What is your message to the future president of CAU?
To the future president of CAU, I hope you love the school like I love this school. Because if you don't, I'll beat you up. Take a minute. I couldn't think of it.
Take a minute, you got time.
Can I just go?
Mm-hmm.
To the future president of CAU, I do hope you love this school like I love this school, because the school means a lot to me. So please enjoy yourself as president and be the best that you can be.
Awesome. In the search for Clark Atlanta University's 4th president, the Board of Trustees and the Presidential Search Committee invited nominations to expressions, blah, 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 blah. In the search for Clark Atlanta University's 4th president, the Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee invited nominations and expressions of interest recently. An exceptional opportunity to lead one of the top private research historically black colleges and universities in the nation. This vacancy is in the result of the search for Clark Atlanta University's 4th president. The Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee have invited nominations and expressions of interest for Clark Atlanta University's 4th president. The Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee have invited nominations and expressions of interest recently. I'm gonna keep going. Okay. An exceptional opportunity to lead one of the top private research historically black colleges and universities in the nation. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from presidency of 7 years. An impeccable blah 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 blah. Fuck. Okay. I'm gonna do the whole thing right here.
Alright.
Click off and then do it again. In the search for Clark Atlanta University's 4th president, the Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee have invited nominations and expressions of interest recently. An exceptional opportunity to lead one of the top private, research historically black colleges and universities in the nation. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from 7 years of impeccable service and leadership. One more time. In the search for Clark Atlanta University's 4th president, the Board of Trustees and Clark Atlanta University's 4th president, the Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee have invited nominations and expressions of interest recently. An exceptional opportunity to lead one of the top private research historically black colleges and universities in the nation. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from 7 years of impeccable service and leadership. For Clark Atlanta University's 4th president, the Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee have invited nominations and expressions of interest recently. An exceptional opportunity to lead one of the nation's private and
So close. So close.
One more. Search for Clark Atlanta University's 4th president. The Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee have invited nominations and expressions of interest for its recently. For Clark Atlanta University's 4th president, the Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee have invited nominations and expressions of interest recently. An exceptional opportunity to lead the nation's top private research historically black colleges and universities. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from 7 years of impeccable service and leadership. I'm good on that. Okay. What are your thoughts about President Brown leaving?
My thoughts on President Brown leaving, I mean, for the time I've been here, he's been a great president. No real issues, no real problems. And the times I've spoken with him, it's been very interesting. He's a cool guy.
Awesome. What would you like to see changed or improved on the campus of Clark Atlanta University?
Change. I think Clark needs to be a little more together. I think feel like we're kind of separated. Everyone is pretty cliquey, so I feel like if we all come together, it will, be a good university, a better university, I should say.
Awesome. What is your message to the future president of Clark Atlanta University?
New president of Clark Atlanta University, I need you to bring the old Clark back. That's what I want. I want the old Clark back, the Clark of '09 and previously. We had fun and
I'm gonna kill you.
really. So I knew that again.
But yeah, one more time for me. One more time for me, please.
What was the question?
What is your message to the future president of CAU?
Okay, future president of Clark Atlanta University. What I want is the old Clark back. I want student fun. And I feel like the student activities and the whole it's kind of not there anymore. So I want Clark fun back. I got here a while ago, so I kind of know how it was. But new Clark Atlanta president, can you please bring that back?
Awesome, thank you. Thoughts about President Brown leaving?
Wait, my bad.
What are your thoughts about President Brown leaving?
Well, I'm actually happy that he is retiring, but I'm kind of actually sad because he was the president who I came in with, and I would have liked to walk across the stage and shook his hand.
What would you like to see changed on the campus of Clark Atlanta University?
I would like to see better housing, more facilities for the students. I also would like to see more restaurants and better administration as far as organization and planning.
What is your message to the future president of Clark Atlanta University?
My future message to the president of Clark Atlanta University is be ready, get set, and let's go.
President of Clark Atlanta University, the Board of Trustees, and its Presidential Search Committee. Maybe one more time. Can you see my eyes looking down? Atlanta University's fourth president, the Board of Trustees, and its Presidential Search Committee invite invitations and expressions of interest recently. An exceptional opportunity to lead one of the top private research historically black colleges and universities in the nation. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from 7 years of service. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from a 7-year presidency of impeccable service and leadership. One more time. For Clark Atlanta University's fourth president, the Board of Trustees, and its Presidential Search Committee. One more time. Clark Atlanta University's fourth president, the Board of Trustees, and its Presidential Search Committee invite nominations and accept expressions of interest. Expressions of interest. President. Okay. Clark Atlanta University's fourth president, the Board of Trustees, and its Presidential Search Committee invite nominations and expressions of interest and exceptionally, that's not the word, an exceptional opportunity to lead one of the nation's top private, an exceptional opportunity to lead one of the top private historically black colleges and universities in the nation. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring after 7 years of retiring from this vacancy is in the result, you know? This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from 7 years of impeccable service and leadership. I'm out. New president of Clark Atlanta will enjoy a support base for the research agenda that the faculty has developed into a national reputation for excellence. The challenge for the next president will be the acquisition of continued grants, the development of effective new partnerships, and increased fundraising for endowments to provide long-term stability for scholars and their work. The university will enjoy a strong support base for the research agenda that the faculty has developed for a national reputation for excellence. The challenge for the next president will be the acquisition of continued grants, the development of effective new partnerships, and increased fundraising for endowments to provide long-term stability for scholars and their work. That's it.
Start over?
Yeah. The impressive reputation the university has as a and through initiatives of new leadership, W.E.B. Du Bois and dozens of black innovators, writers, and political leaders have given the university a rich intellectual heritage already. W.E.B. Du Bois and dozens of black innovators, writers, and political leaders have already given the university a rich heritage of intellectual leaders. Campus life and the educational program at Clark Atlanta University are infused with a social justice agenda that has and continues to resonate positively around us. But I need to be able to do that. The already impressive reputation the university has as a black intellectual The already impressive reputation the university has as a leader in the black intellectual tradition in the country. As a black intellectual, W.E.B. Du Bois and other intellectual leaders. I can't see it. Fuck it.
You can't see it?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it while I'm somewhere else. This can't work. All right, yeah, that's it. Turn it off. I'm good.
Two.
In search for Clark Atlanta University's fourth president, the Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee invited nominations and expressions of interest recently, an exceptional opportunity to lead one of the top private research.
Just start back over. Y'all gotta be quiet, please.
In search for Clark Atlanta University's fourth president, the Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee invited nominations and expressions of interest recently, an exceptional opportunity to lead one of the top private research and historically black colleges and universities in the nation. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from the presidency of 7 years of impeccable service and leadership. In search for Clark Atlanta University's fourth president, the Board of Trustees and its Presidential Search Committee invited nominations and expressions of interest recently, an exceptional opportunity to lead one of the nation's top private research historically black colleges and universities. This vacancy is in the result of President Carlton E. Brown retiring from the presidency of 7 years of impeccable service and leadership. In a sit-down with President Carlton E. Brown, we discussed his future plans and expectations for the What's the last one?
You can try to just start at the, actually. Just give it a pause for like 3 seconds and then say, and then the blah, blah, blah.
Okay. In the sit down with President Carlton E. Brown, we discussed his future plans and his expectations for the future president of Clark Atlanta University. Yep, y'all can go ahead.
No, you have to go ahead. We need you to